Good afternoon everybody, once again welcome back to the plot, and of course a big welcome to all the new members to the plot. We've picked up quite a few over the last week. Big thanks to Dean Roberts for the shout out. I know a lot of you people that are on Dean Roberts' post on the back garden veg plot, you've moved over, but on our side we hope we can give you a few tips as good as what Dean does, and you can follow us right through the year on how we live the garden. But of course up here in the northeast it's a bit heavy rainfalls for the last 4 or 5 days. I've never known a January like this. It's been absolutely horrendous, soaking wet. So the pathways are waterlogged, so I'm trying as best I can to get off. But this is one of the jobs I always like to get done end of January, beginning of February, and of course it's cloudy, there's a little bit of sunshine every now and again coming out, so I thought, well, I'm up here, I'll get this job done today, and I like to try and get a bed done every day. We've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 beds of raspberries, and these are the primo came, the autumn, the summer fruiting raspberries. Now the way they treat these is they cut them back, you cut the old growth out, which is what I like to do in the September, October time, if you go back in some of the old videos, and they'll leave the new canes in. Of course these are all the new canes in left in, so now is a perfect time to start treating them. Early February, as we went to the last day of January tomorrow, so I might as well get cracking and get stuck in. So just go along with the flow. Nice deep beds these, of course we've got all the garden cut up in the beds, slopey soil, nice and deep. And of course I transferred these raspberries from the far side last year because they were getting too overgrown. They had been in there for about 10 years. So what I decided to do was to dig them out, take the runners off them and plant new runners. This is a completely new bed, this is a completely new bed. Two new beds down there. So these raspberries are now 16-year-old. Can't complain. Just a little point I want to make. There's somebody commenting about potatoes the other day. Shop bought ones, are they okay to use in the garden? And what's the difference? Of course they're okay to use in the garden, but the difference is if you're buying your potatoes, your first year you're buying disease-free stock, you're buying good stock. Scotch potatoes, English potatoes, wherever you send them from, a disease-free stock and a first class. After that, you can just take a good bit of looking after. I told you in last week's video how we do our potatoes, and there's no reason why your potatoes can't last for years. It's exactly the same with these. If you look after them properly, no reason why you can't have them for years on end. The strawberries are exactly the same. We get a 3-year system out of strawberries. We'll pop in there in a minute and I'll show you how I like to go on with the baskets. But there's no reason why your raspberries can't last as long as that. We will send runners out in the springtime underneath it. Sometimes it comes 3 or 4 foot from the plants, from the actual bed. But I'll show you all that in coming videos, how to save your own stock from the raspberries. And every year you can transplant yourself a new bed, make yourself a new bed, and within 5 years you can have 10 beds of raspberries, no problem. Depends on how much land you've got. But anyway, this is where we like to treat ours. As I say, these are the summer fruiting ones. Now if you've got the autumn fruiting ones, now they're different. They catfish. They'll fruit on first year woods, not the second year woods like a primo cane does. So with your autumn fruiting raspberries, you should really be cut right down out of the ground. But then again, you can treat them exactly the same as what I'm going to do here. Once your canes are cut out, you want to give them a feed. You want to give them a feed now, and you want to give them a cover to keep them nice and warm until the spring comes. So what we like to do, I like my spoonful when I'm in there with the baskets, but when I'm out here I measure by the handful. And this is of course sulphate of potash, and all your fruit trees, all your fruit bushes will really benefit from a good day handful of that. So 1 handful per bed. That on there now. Just make sure you don't pick a windy day like I do. It's blowing all over. But you're going to say, well, isn't that going to get washed out? Not really. Not when you take the next step. A really good bucketful of horse manure. Cover the whole bed, and that's it. Forget about them. We've got a feed with a potash, a good bucket of horse manure over the top, keeping them well covered, nice and warm. It's as I say, next week we're into February. It's still cold. By March time, you're going to be starting to see life come to them. Little buds appearing. The roots are going to start looking for feed. So all the feed's there, ready for them. And they'll last you right through until the summertime. If you want to give them some liquid feeding later on, once the fruits are on, that's fine, half fine. Normally I don't have to. I'll give them a really good feeding in the springtime. And that should last all year. That, as I say, you can go along and get them feeds and stuff like that. Some of the high potash in once the fruits are on, but usually I can go along and give it a bit of blood, fish and bone, and that's quite sufficient for them. Yeah, that's one bed done. And what I'll do over the coming days, I'll do a bed each day, full of manure, a good handful of sulphate of potash. Now the apple trees, the pear trees, cherry trees, plum trees, they'll all get exactly the same. Get a good weeding out, good digging up around them. Any weeds that's amongst them, pull them out, give them a good cleaning up, a good handful of sulphate of potash, and a bucket full, even the fruit trees, they'll get a bag full of manure put around the roots, and top the sulphate of potash, and just protecting it from getting washed away. Yeah, they say the way the rains have been here this last fortnight, well, last month since Christmas, it's been absolutely horrendous up here. I've never known January to be so wet. But hey ho, it's not stopping. We're getting on, getting a few jobs ready. I've got the sprout bed to tackle next. I'll maybe do that in the next video. Get them. I've still got plenty of sprouts on, but a few of them are starting to get a bit thin now. So I'll be taking them out, chopping them up, getting them into compost bins. Clear the hooks off because that bed's going to be used for potatoes this year. And possibly onions, so we'll be cleaning the beds up, and I'll show you how we'll work our way around. How we'll grow in a circle every year. We'll do the same thing, change our beds over, and we'll get a first class crop every year. Still a few leaks left in here, so no doubt over this next coming week we'll pull these leeks up. We'll use these for for stews and that, soups and stews, great stuff, and that'll be another bed cleared, all ready for the springtime. But let's go so inside where it's a little bit warmer, and we'll have a look at these strawberries. Okay. Right, much better in here, a lot more comfortable. Of course I'm in the lower ponytail. This bed's all done, as explained in the last video. It's been filled with early tatties, with jazzy potatoes. But as you can see, all our baskets are done. We've got 24 baskets in here, and of course these are filled with the Albion strawberries. Now I brought these in just before the new year. I think it was about the 20th of December me and Roger brought these in. But we've done a little bit of work on them, not much, because they don't really need, they just need a good looking after to get a first class crop. As you can see by these baskets now, they're starting to fill up just nice. I'm really pleased with them, because I was a bit disappointed in them last year when we first got the plants. They really weren't responding at all. Of course, I grow my strawberries completely different from the way they send them out when they come out with dry rooted plants, bare rooted plants. I was disappointed in them, but as I say, I persevered with them. I've worked all year. This is the second year on them. I worked all year on them. I got a load of cuttings off them last year, and as I say, I persevered with the cuttings, kept them nice and clean. Not too much feed, just a really good compost. Now I will show you how I make my compost. We can pop it next door when we finish off here. A few lads have commented on the 3-to-1 mix. Quite an easy mix to make. I've used it for about 20 years and it's never failed as yet. So what we like to do with these baskets is, I say, when I brought these in a month ago, because it is a month now, what I had said was all we'll do is we'll clean them up, give them a good spraying, and we'll hang them up. Mind these were on the sides like that outside. Had been through all them heavy rains, heavy snow, frosted. Had a really good frosting. I never bring strawberries inside until I've had a really good chilling out. A really couple of good nights of minus temperatures. And of course that's to break the dormancy and to set the fruit buds up for the coming season. So once you've had a good chilling, good frosting, we can bring them inside. Well, these were the first ones I brought in. The parent plants are next door. We brought them in a week ago. I'll show you them when we go next door. And up on the top bed, outside on the bench, we've got 2 dozen Cambridge favourites. I sent away for them last year. And these are the strawberries I had for 15 years, the Cambridge favourites. And it was only a couple of years ago when I thought they were getting a bit small. They had overrun that life expectancy. I thought I'd send away for a new crop. And that's when I sent away for the Albion. And of course that's when more problems started. They come as bare rooted plants. Cannot really blame the suppliers because I've used them for years. But what I'm thinking is when they've been dug up, it hasn't been cold enough. The plants haven't really been in the dormant stage. So what we've had is semi-dormant plants, and we've been trying to struggle bringing them back to life. And they've responded not so well to the treatment we give them. But anyway, in saying that, they're up and running now. I'm well pleased with them now. So there's the plants here now, and these have been a month inside. They've had one spraying, and what we did this morning is we went round me and Roger. Not a dessert spoon, you want a teaspoon. And about a good teaspoon of sulphate of potash per basket, and that's fine enough for them now. As I say, they're still nice and wet. There's still plenty of moisture in the baskets. So what I'll not be doing is watering them. I'll be leaving them for a good, if I can get these chains sorted out, I'll be leaving them for another good fortnight yet before I even think about watering them. Oh, that's that one there again. I'll get that home back up where he belongs. There he is. Now all these get again is another spraying. I'm going to spray them this afternoon. Give them a good spraying. They are still, as the plants start to grow, you'll find a few leaves that's been hidden underneath the compost, rotting away or hold with flea beetle or anything. Pull them off because the new growth's coming up. This is all new growth here from the crown. The crown's just sitting on the top of the compost there, and all that new growth. And within about 3 or 4 weeks' time, they'll be setting out their fruit buds. The arms will be coming out with flowers on, and hopefully we should be picking strawberries about the end of March into April and beginning of May, which is champion for us because it's well before the strawberry season starts in June. So that's the beauty of bringing them inside. I know there's a little bit extra work involved in it, but we love it. We've got 24 baskets in here. We've got 8 baskets in the 100-foot greenhouse. We've got 16 parent plants in the big polytunnel there, in big pots. I'll show you when we go in. And we've got 24 smaller ones up there. Now the smaller ones, when we bring them in a fortnight's time or a month's time, I'm not worried about getting a crop off them. All I want is the runners if I get there, because first year plants always go out loads of great runners. So even if we get a small crop from them, I'll be happy. But most important, I'll get the runners off them, which will go in these baskets next year, and I'll be back to growing my Cambridge favourites. I will keep the Albion, but not as many. As I say, we've got 24 baskets in here. And a couple of years ago, when I had a visit from Dave, from Dave's allotment, he come down, and he was over the moon. That was when I had the Cambridge favourites. Fantastic croppers. We've got about 4 varieties now, so I'm quite happy with that. I'll keep a couple on the back burner. We've got the Giganta, and we've got Senga Giganta. We've got the Cambridge favourites, and we've got the Albion. So I'm quite happy with that. 3 or 4 good varieties, and we can spread them out right from January into February, even up till March. We can start bringing them in. As I say, them ones outside, they're just sitting on the bench out back there, just a bit of plastic over the top of them, keeping the worst of the weather off them. But they're just sitting there quite happily. And what we'll do, we'll bring them in a fortnight's time, because they're only in 9cm pots. We'll bring them in, we'll pot them up into pots, and we'll put them alongside here on the benches, and then grow away quite happily for the next couple of months. But as I say, the fruit's not important this year, it's getting the runners off them. But we can take up to 6 runners per plant. So if I've got 24 plants here, it doesn't take much to work out. It's over 100 plants we'll have for next year to fill these baskets up. I'll be well chuffed. So that's the baskets taken care of. As I say, the only thing to do now is get use a bit of spraying. But you know me spray. Teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of Epsom salts, a couple of dollops of either olive oil, something like that, cooking oil, and a good dollop of washing up liquid. Don't forget the washing up liquid, because that's what mixes all up, emulsifies it. What I like to do is make mine in a pot or a bucket first, just a little container, hot water. Mix all the ingredients in there before you pour it in your spray, and then you can top your spray up with cold water to your 1 litre mark. Double up your mixes if you're making a bigger mix, if you want a lot more spray. I usually use 2 litres for in here, just for these 24 baskets, and give them a really good soaking. So I can just double up my amount, it'll be 2 litre spray, and it's ready to go. It's already next door, so I'll be bringing it in here. Once I finish filming, I'll give you a good spraying, and they're good to go. They've had their sulphate of potash, as I say. The moisture is still nice, and the compost still nice and moist, even though they've been in here for a month. And of course, we've had to put the extra sheet of polythene on the top here. And what I did, I've just took it along and under the hoops on the inside here. We've got a lot of damage on the top because of the seagulls coming down and landing. We've never had it so bad for years, but they've been really troublesome these last few years. We've got a lot of holes in the top, and the water's dripping right through onto the beds here. Ice cold, and it's soaking them, and that's what we're doing for the tatties. We've got weekly hoses out. More of the tatties wants to start coming through, and what we didn't want was ice cold water dripping over strawberries, so we'll put this extra lining in, and that's why I had to take the sweet peas out, because it's opaque as polythene. It's not affecting the growth of the strawberries, it'll not affect the growth of potatoes, but it will affect the seedlings because of the light. You must have good light for your seedlings. We'll go all through that in the next video when I start sowing, but for the time being we'll get next door. I'll show you the parent plants, and I'll show you how I crack on with me pot mix, okay? Well, that little bit of sunshine makes all the difference. It's absolutely boiling here. I went to the second tunnel here. This is one of the jobs I wanted to get. In fact, I can take my hat off now. Whew, I'm absolutely cooking. Just that little bit of sunshine in the west, it's absolutely beautiful. I must have raised the temperature in here at least 10 degrees. But I love working in the polytunnels. It's absolutely great over the winter. Do all my cutting. If I'm doing repairs, bring your woodwork in to dry out, you can do your cutting, nail and screwing together. It's absolutely fantastic. And that's why we like 2 or 3 good tunnels. We can do most of our work in the winter. Well, this is one of my barrels. I've just taken the top off this, but you can see it's absolutely covered with a green mould, and this is one of the nettle barrels. Oh, as you can see, all that's left is the stalks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out, because they go straight into the compost bin. Well, there's not so much smell from it this time. That's because of the cold weather. But what I want to do is to get this used up. This was one of the last barrels I filled with the nettles that I had last year. The last crop of nettles, put them in here, and this will go into them cabbages, the spring cabbage that's in there. We'll get the barrel emptied out, wash it out, nice clean fresh water in, ready for the tomatoes coming in, because that's the last thing we want. If you've got your nettle barrels off last year, and if it's still good to use it up now, because once the weather starts warming up, any bugs or anything that's lying in the water, any eggs that's been in there, flies are getting in. That's why I always like to keep mine covered, keep a lid over it, keeps it nice and clean. But if there is anything in it, they're going to start hatching out in the warm weather, so that's the last thing you want. So get it used up. Over the next couple of weeks, what I'm going to be doing is taking it out bucket full of time and give the spring cabbages a really good drink of that. That's what nettle juice. Once again, from anybody that's just joined the gardening from Dean's plot, well, this is how we make our nettle juice up. Full of nitrogen, and it's free. And I love giving me cabbages anything I want a good drink of nitrogen, like say leeks, onions, anything like that, even potatoes in there. So we'll get the potatoes a good soaking. There's one barrel here and there's one barrel next door there, and we use these all the time for the same thing. We'll pop fresh water in it, and then once the nettles start growing down home where I bring them from, bang, get them in there, plenty of nettles, and they'll break down. Mine in the summer, it absolutely stinks. You get a really strong smell of ammonia coming off the water, really foul smelling, but believe you me, it's a fantastic drink. Not for us. I mean, nettle juice is good for you, nettle teas and whatnot. Well, I've got to admit I've never tried them, but this water is fantastic. It's lovely and green here now. I'll put the cover back on that, and then next week I can get the watering can, and then we'll give these spring cabbages a good soaking. I'll just turn that round, and you can see down below there's a spring cabbage here. Absolutely fantastic, growing really well. Just one more space up here to do, and of course what we did this morning, their job done, and these are growing absolutely great. These are the parent plants that we took from the Albion, and of course the ones in the baskets are the runners that we took off these plants last year. So all I did with these, with the parent plants we took the runners off, is in November when they were outside, I took them out of the pots, took them out of the baskets, cleaned the roots down and put them in a pot and gave them a really good new fresh compost. And they've been sitting outside just the same as what the young ones were for the baskets. They've been sitting outside all winter, and we've just brought these in a week ago, and already there's a flush of brilliant new growth down below. Once again, all these have had is a spray. They've had no water. The pots are pretty heavy, so it tells me there's loads of moisture in there. That's one good way of knowing when your plants want water, is when the compost starts drying out. Now my compost is always the same, 3, 2, 1. I've used this mix for donkey's years and it's never let us down, so if you're happy with it, use it every year. And of course these are the Albion, and you can see on the top there what we did this morning. We went round and put a teaspoonful of sulphate of potash on them, clean them out, any bits of weed, you'd be surprised, bits of grass, bits of grimsel, bits of nettle growing, anything like that, pull them out. So the strawberries have got free range over the full pot. Keep them nice and clean. It only takes 5 minutes once a week to go through your pots. And already along here we've got 9 pots, and on the back end there I've got another 5 still to bring in, another 5 Singer Giganta that's sitting outside there. They'll be brought in tomorrow, and that's the last of the big pots. So we've got 1, 2, and then once the small ones come in, that'll be 3 lots. And them strawberries will be spread out over 6 weeks to 2 months. And so once they start fruiting, once again the fruit is going to go from A to B, C. You're not going to get it all at once, it's going to be spread out over a couple of weeks. That's what we want. We don't want all the fruit coming at once. But over the moving the cabbages are growing great. Even though we've got a gigantic rip along this top roof here. I'm going to work on that in the springtime, get a brand new cover for the polytunnel. And of course along the bottom the nets are down, the nets are on at the moment. So I'm going to cover them because the tomatoes are coming in here. And what I will do, I'll leave the nets at the ends of the tunnel open, and the nets on the front of the tunnels will be shut. So we'll have air coming in at the end and air coming in out the back there. Plus the doors are always wide open. That's another good point I always try to make sure you've got plenty of fresh air. Even if you're at home in the greenhouse, get your window open, especially on a day like this. Get the window open, I'll leave the door open just a couple of inches, get some fresh air. There's nothing better than cleaning your greenhouse out every day, nice fresh air. And that'll combat a lot of your diseases, your moulds, your funguses. A couple lads commented online, chamomile tea, I use chamomile tea all the time. You get a box of chamomile tea bags and it'll last you a year. Just one tea bag will make a litre spray for you. And your seedlings, always give your compost a good soak in that first before you put your seedlings on. Once the seedlings break cover, give them another good spray in of chamomile tea. Fantastic. Stops them dampening off, stops loads of diseases and whatnot. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. I've used that for years. Rather than use chemicals, I like to try and find stuff that I can use which is organic and not harm the plants and certainly not harm the animals and which come to the garden, you know. So that's the main thing. But yeah, I'm really pleased. We're getting on well. We're getting nearly all the tunnels sorted. There's potatoes planted in here, cabbages in here, strawberries are coming in. So the melon house is the next thing to start filling up. I've got loads of seeds to plant. The onions that are coming through, they'll be potted off and put in the melon house. The leeks that I sowed last week will be brought up. They'll go into the melon house. And then in fortnight, the 3 weeks time, end of February, in the first week of March, we'll start some more greens. Now our cabbage, broccoli, sprouts, they can wait until the middle of March if you want, you know. We like to sow them a little bit early, just so we've got a nice big plant ready for plant out in the end of April, beginning of May. But there's absolutely thousands of little jobs will need to be done long before then. Getting the mixtures made up. Just behind me is Reggie's already started on my next lot. That's why little wee mixer there, and this is what we use to make our mixes up. We make a 3-2-1, and it's all the time. And it's consistent. It consists of 3 parts of multi-purpose compost, 2 parts of our own compost, and 1 part sharp sand, and then a good handful of bone meal. If you want, you can add a little bit more perlite to it to give it a bit extra drainage. But as I say, it's our mix and we've used it for years. But we'll pop up and we'll go to the far end of the greenhouse where I've got my little basket for me mixes up, and we'll have a little chat up there before I go off. Okay. Right, here we are, top end of the 100-foot greenhouse. This is one back-breaking job I did the other day. Of course, we had made 2 big mixes up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2 mixes, 3 full bags of our own compost, and 1 already in there. Absolutely amazing, because believe it or not, once I start potting off and potting up, this goes as quick as we can make it. By the size of the polytunnels and the amount of plants that will grow, it sharp goes. But all in all, it's a worthwhile job. I love doing it. Now, what I will say is, I know for a fact a lot of people will not be making mixes up a cement mixer like what we do. So the easiest job to do is get yourself depending on how much mixture you want to make. If you're just sowing seeds, you don't really need to make this mixture. I do, because I like to sow leeks, onions and stuff like that in them. But the trouble with that is you're going to get weeds. That's absolutely marvellous, that. I love the smell of fresh compost. Beautiful. It's absolutely black, and that's with our own compost, just sieved. If you're making your own compost and you just want a small amount of it, and then if you know roughly how much you're going to use, but if you are doing potting up, and then just make your pots to the size that you want. If you know you're going to be filling about 4 or 5 pots like that, then what I would do is I would fill 3 pots of that multi-compost, 2 pots of your own compost out your own bin, or some good soil, some nice soil out of one of your beds, really good soil, take all the stones out, weeds, put that in. It's 2 pots, 1 pot, put that of sharp sand. You might think that's a lot of sharp sand, but it's not really. I use tons of sharp sand as well as perlite. I always like a nice free draining mixture. Now people are saying, well, that's a lot of drainage. It's not really. Excuse me, the way I water my plants, I water from down below. So to me, the more drainage that's in there, like is, that's dry on the top, but it's damp underneath. As soon as I put water in that tray, that's just going to act like a sponge with that sand in that in. It's going to take the water straight up, and that's the secret of my growing plants. Always water from down below in trays. I think it was Char who had mentioned on her Facebook page on the plot about making a big tray up to put seedlings on, and I says, well, it'd be better off if you put a sheet of polythene onto that, on top of that, a few newspapers, and then that whole tray becomes a watering tray. You put your plants on it, and all you need to do then is just shift one tray, pour your water in, as long as it's on the level. A lot of people put water in trays and they're not level, they're not in benches. They're going to run to one side or the other side. make sure that's nice and level. Pour your water in, and your newspapers are going to soak, and they're going to just act like blotting paper underneath your seed trays, and your seed trays are going to keep nice and moist. Cannot overwater them that way. But as I say, if you want to make this mix up, that's the way to do it. 3, 2, 1. Don't forget your bone meal. A couple of good handfuls of bone meal, depending on how big your mixture is. If it's only a couple of buckets or a couple of small pots, and just a light handful in your mix. Once again, you can do three of these, 2 of them and 1 of them. Just make a small mixture up. But as I say, we go by the bag full for the cement mixer. 3, 2 and 1. And then we'll just put a couple of good handfuls of bone meal, and then if I think it's a bit light for drainage, I can just add a bit of perlite to it, a couple of handfuls of perlite, and just gives that extra drainage. But we've always got a first class mixture. As I say, I've started potting off in here. I've been bringing plants inside. I've got stock plants on the outside, loads of flowering plants, perennials that I like to bring in, clean down, put some nice fresh compost on them around the roots for giving away for family and friends throughout the year. But I'm always taking cuttings, I'm always dividing plants. Nothing goes to waste, just get potted up, and next year when they're a decent size it can be given away to family and friends, and that's the way we like to do our gardening. Up on the top here, if you can see, we've got another 16 strawberry pots on the top here, and these are the Senga Giganta. These were only brought in 2 weeks ago. So what we'll be doing with them, the Sega, once again, I struggled with these last year because I had a bit of a virus on them. So what I've done this year, I tipped them out completely, and I put nice new compost in them. I'm hoping that's going to cure it. If it doesn't, well, if we get a crop off them, they can always go the journey next year. We'll give them a try this year and see how they go. That's the Senga Giganta. But apart from that, I'm chuffed to pieces. The weather's starting to warm up a little bit forward. I think this has been the first day we haven't had any rain for about God knows how many weeks. That's why I decided to come up this afternoon. The sun's just started shining there. It's going down in the west there, but it's time's it now at 2 o'clock here in the northeast, and it's been quite a pleasant afternoon. I can get up, I can get a couple of little jobs done. I've got these strawberries in there, the ones that's hanging up. I've got them to clean up and put a little bit of sulphate of potash on. I'll get them done this afternoon. It's another job out the way. As I say, if I can get an hour's work done every day, I'm quite happy. Just to keep us plodding on. And what I've taken down home, I've taken a load of baskets down home. A load of these, as I explained, from the fruit shop. And I'll be filling me poly pots. Now I use a lot of poly pots. That's the little black polythene bags. You can get 15 in a tray. And what I'll be doing, I'll be sowing cabbages, collies and sprouts in these trays. Just to seed, they'll not be getting potted off. There'll just be a few seeds in, and they'll be given away to family and friends also. But that'll be on another video in about 6 weeks time when we're ready to start sowing them. But like I say, it's just having a good, really good supply of compost, and of course in here it's warm. That's the difference. Once the soil's been brought inside, especially out the muck bins, it's cold, it's wet. Roger puts it through an old bread tray, that's all, sieves it through there, and it's fantastic. Once it's mixed with the sand and the compost in it, it ends up like that. Absolutely beautiful. That's our mix for it. So if you want to try that as a pot and mix, by all means, get it made up. Okay, right, so I'm going to crack on, try and get a little bit of work done. Once again, thanks to Dean Roberts for the shout out. Welcome to everybody. That's general Facebook page, Jeff Foreman on the plot, and like you say, you can catch us on my YouTube channel, which is Jeff Foreman. By all means, comment. Comments down below, and we'll always answer you back. I'm on a computer most nights on my laptop, so I'm commenting on most things, answering different questions. If you want to, if you don't want to wait for the videos, you can get on the plot. Just send me a friend's request. It's Jeff Foreman on the plot, and we'll get you signed up, and you can chat away with her most nights. But springtime's on its way. A lot of people getting itchy fingers, wanting to know what to sow now. My advice is just to hang on a little bit longer, especially when you're talking about chilies, tomatoes and stuff like that. Just wait a little bit longer, be patient. I'm going to start sowing mine next week, but it'll be on a little bit of bottom heat, just a little bit. It's warm down in my greenhouse, 45 to 50, that's all, not hot, just warm. And what I'll do is I'll get my little heat blanket out and I'll start the chilies off on that, exactly like I did last year, middle of February, soon enough. I can sow some geraniums next week, and lobelia. Lobelia is one of the things you need sown now if you want nice strong plants ready to plant out in May. So we'll probably have a look at that next week. What we'll also do, we'll probably do a little veg basket. Start sowing some early vegetables. You can sow lettuce now, come again. You can sow radish. I'll be sowing some chives, just to make up a little veg basket. People that's wanting to get started, if you just got a cold greenhouse, I'll show you a few little things that you can crack on with now, and hopefully that'll take away the temptation to start sowing anything too early. And the worst thing you can do is to start sowing and lose them in the cold. It's heartbreaking, I know, because you want to get started, but just be a little bit patient, and time will come soon enough. As I say, that sun's beautiful end of January. Give it a couple of weeks, man, and you'll be able to start sowing. Okay, so I'll see you all again, hopefully in a week's time. What we'll do is we'll crack on, we'll do a little bit sowing, and I'll give you a walk around. I might start it off down home, I might sow a few seeds down home, and then we'll come up here and we'll see what we can sow cold in the melon house. It's a little bit warmer in there, a couple of degrees, but what we can do is we can use propagator tops, even plastic bags, and they'll give you that little bit of edge. Keep them plants at a couple of degrees higher than what the outside temperature is, and you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, so I'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.